What are the skills that every swimmer has to learn regardless of the stroke that they're swimming? Hi everyone, Eater here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. Well, the strokes may look very different, and different swimmers can experience different levels of success within each stroke. The strokes are still all built upon the same fundamental skills. So what are those fundamental skills? That's the exact question a coach emailed me last week. So in this video, we're going to discuss all the skills that underlie effective swimming. While they'll probably make sense once you think about them, unfortunately, they're often skills that are overlooked when working with younger swimmers, or they're simply taught inappropriately. Let's go over what they are so we can start to develop strategies to help swimmers improve these skills. First up is flotation. Step number one is learning to float and being comfortable in the water. This is absolutely ground zero for swimming. If swimmers are unable to get comfortable in the water or relax in the water with little to no movement, they're never going to be able to swim fast. They have to be able to stay afloat and control their position with almost no effort. If they can't, they're going to use all of their energy to just try to not drown rather than try to create speed. They're going to do what they have to do in order to get air, so we have to give them the skills to make breathing as easy and as effortless as possible. One of the problems, though, is that this skill and improving it doesn't necessarily look like swimming. A lot of times, it just looks like nothing or just playing around. However, for swimmers to develop the ability to get comfortable in the water, they have to get comfortable with a lot of different positions and being able to transition between different positions. Now, if they spend enough time in the water, they're probably going to figure it out on their own. But if we can accelerate that process deliberately, they're going to figure it out faster and they're going to figure it out at a better and higher level. I like something simple like a ball float where they grab a big giant breath, they hold their knees, and then they simply float on the surface. Just about every swimmer is going to be able to do this with little to no effort. From there, you can have them use different positions, you can have them move in and out of different positions, and you can even have them play different floating games. As they do, they're going to get better and better at learning to control their body and control their position in the water. It's the foundation of effective swimming. Once we've got that dialed in, the next critical skill is the ability to swim straight through the water. If they can swim straight, that means less resistance, and less resistance means more speed for less effort. We're talking about straight in terms of side to side and up and down. The more there is, the more problems we'll see. And a lot of it starts with the head. If the head is moving, the body's going to be moving as well. They have to learn to keep the head relatively stable, and the better they can float, the easier it's going to be to do that. It's critical to get them moving straight, and then you can really start to build the rest of the stroke around that great alignment, around that great position. Again, they'll be creating less resistance, which means more speed with less effort. When they're able to move through the water with less effort, that's going to make learning any other skill a lot easier and a lot simpler. And for most swimmers, the biggest challenge is not so much swimming straight, but continuing to swim straight as they breathe. As we discussed a couple minutes ago, they are going to breathe and they're going to do what they need to do in order to get air. And that may or may not have anything to do with swimming fast. But if they can float, they can manage their position, they'll have a lot more control and be better able to manage the process. As a result, the breathing is going to disrupt the stroke much less. But if they can't maintain their position and control, the breath is going to be a disaster. So swimming straight is key, and breathing is a huge part of swimming straight. It needs to be improved early in the process to make everything else possible, and it will make everything else easier to do. Once swimmers can swim straight, now they need to learn to produce the horsepower, the propulsion to actually move themselves through the water. That means, more than anything else, they need to learn to use the arms to create propulsion and move water backwards. That is what creates forward movement. To do so, swimmers need to learn how to position their arms in the water so that they can move as much water backwards as possible. That means a big surface area, a big range of motion, and they need to build the hand speed, the arm speed throughout each pull. Any strategies that help swimmers learn to move water more effectively is going to be foundational for fast swimming. While the strokes look different, the same principles apply equally. There's at least one playlist on my YouTube that goes into the details of creating propulsion and how the strokes are actually quite similar. It's worth a watch. You'll see that the basic skills are the same in each stroke, so if you can help swimmers learn to move water with the arms in general, it's going to help them go fast in all of the strokes. There are multiple ways to get the job done, and the most important question to ask is how can I help my swimmers learn how to move more water every time they use their arms? Sculling, different hand postures, and simple drills where they're moving a lot of water each and every time can all play a big role here. Perform a lot of those activities in their formative years, and it's going to make a huge difference in their overall skill set further down the line. And if your swimmers missed out on some of that work for whatever reason, there's a saying that the best day to start was yesterday, the next best day is today. So it's well worth starting to work on no matter where they're at in their swimming journey. So if swimmers can learn to float and then use their ability to float to manage their position in the water, and then from that stable, aligned position, use the arms to move water backwards, they're going to swim fast. And in most cases, those skills need to be learned in that basic order. If swimmers can't find comfort and stability in the water by using their lungs, it's pretty much impossible for them to learn to manage and control their body position. And that will slow them down. And if they can't control their position, it's going to be extremely difficult to use the arms to create propulsion because the arms are going to be out of place because the body is out of place. They're likely using their arms to manage their position, and not only is that ineffective, it compromises the ability to pull effectively. Not only does that not work, it compromises the ability to move water effectively. And that is going to make it very difficult to move forward with any sort of speed. When working with younger swimmers, it's well worth the time and effort investment to help them learn how to float effectively, control their position in the water, and learn how to manipulate the water using their arms. If they can learn those skills, they can learn how to create speed in any stroke. Hope that was helpful, and as always, keep it simple.